and welcome to PPR Podcast number 131. My name is Rudy, but the star of the podcast sits to my right, the dearest of friends, the biggest of stars, Mr. Burke Grossman, who not only is a PPR co-host, but is the president of the San Diego Strike Force, who also generously sponsors this conversation. Oh, would you like to welcome our guest to the hot seat?
I would. Kade Wilken from Torrey Pines, one of your favorite players that you just had to have on.
Kade, I was on you when everybody else just thought it was a cool first name. I saw a game about, 4 or 5 weeks ago. And I said, check this cat out. And everyone was, yeah. And then about a week later said, oh, you made another play. And I said, check that cat out. And now here you are in the hottest podcast in the land. So,
Kade, do you guys still call each other cat? Check that cat out? Or is that really old for you?
I
You guys
haven't
don't
heard
use
that in
that?
a very long time.
Wow, so it's like Starsky and Hutch reruns.
Yeah, I have not heard anybody say that since.
all right. Well, you know what? You should. Why don't you just say thank you? Thank you for
I appreciate it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just saying.
Go there and don't listen to him because he's just bitter. He's a bitter old guy. Kade, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me on.
You're part of. Would you like to lead off, or would you like me to go first?
I got to ask him back. I'm from Pennsylvania. He's from Wisconsin. Are you that cold right now in Del Mar?
No, I'm not. It's got Torrey on it, so I left it on. I'm actually kind of sweating, but
right.
I thought maybe you had ear surgery and you didn't want us to show us that your lobes have been plucked. Kade, you're part of a three-headed monster that plays some pretty mean defense for the Falcons. Could you speak to that? You guys had a five-star quarterback confused and, I don't know if frustrated is the word, but you had him scoreless after a half a play, and that's no easy task. Could you speak to your defense?
Yeah, I think as a school and a program, we've always been known for our defense. Our defense is what has probably won us the most games out of anything. We try and keep points off the board, and we just try and shut down teams completely by taking away their ability to pass, and then as soon as they go to the run, we just stop them at the line most of the time. And it's just an attest to our coaching completely. They coach us really, really well. And the game plan they put in is always very specific to whoever we're playing, and it ends up working really well because we have really smart, intelligent coaches who are able to just put in that game plan and coach us on it. And I think our physicality definitely helps. We hit a lot harder than most teams, and we like to just kind of beat down our opponents and wear and tear against them until they kind of have to just try whatever they can and maybe even resort to trick plays.
Does Torrey Pines have one of the best? Is it the best defense in the county in your opinion?
Oh, I think so for sure. I can't speak to our offense because I don't play offense, but I 100% think we have the best defense in the county, and we could shut down any team in our very best element and in our best game.
You definitely, if I look at the last month, you have, 12 against El Camino, you gave up 6 against Mission Hills, 17 against Carlsbad. What changed on your defense from the beginning when it was, I think the first game was 30 against Del Norte, and then you guys slowly, and then now it's like this. What changed?
I think for us, it was a lot about getting back into the game. We probably came in to the first game of the season a little bit unprepared, and a lot of our guys that are on the defense now didn't play varsity or didn't start on varsity last year, so it was kind of a new setting. And then as soon as they got used to it and they kind of got comfortable in their game and doing their job, it really just became all uphill from there. And it was, I don't know, I don't know what changed for us. It was just we started hitting harder and we started doing our job right, and we got used to playing football as a team together again, and from then on we just started shutting people down.
Scott Ashby came in and took over for Robbie Collins, who went on leave. Is Scott Ashby worthy of Coach of the Year votes, in your opinion?
Oh, 100%. To do what he did completely just out of the blue, nobody had expected him to come in. Nobody had planned for him to come in, and he took over when we needed it, when Collins had to go out, and he came in and he did an amazing job, and he continues to do an amazing job at being a head coach. And I think what he's been able to do with our program, especially after a year like last year, as a head coach who wasn't planning on being a head coach this year, he definitely deserves the votes.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. You're in the Avocado League. You're sitting at second right now. And like you said, he didn't get the year build-up that everybody else got to put his program together. He got an hour and a half, I think. It's pretty incredible what he's done. I don't see anybody that's even close to that, what he's done to this point. And like you said, if you look back at Del Norte, that's kind of what he took over. And then you look at what he has now, and that's kind of what he's built. It's pretty impressive.
No, yeah, for sure. It's unbelievable to me, and I'm just glad he's there to do it because he's made us an amazing team, and we're happy to play for him. And he's somebody we'd all follow into battle blindly if we had to.
What makes him a good coach?
I mean, he's on a personal level, he's there for his players no matter what, whether it's stuff at home, stuff off the field, school. He's there for everybody. And then when it's at practice, he's making sure everybody stays honest and does their job. He's very disciplined with his players, but he's not overly critical. He tries to help you in any way he can. If you have questions, he answers them, and he motivates us. And then his pregame speeches are obviously amazing.
Oh, give me an example. What's one you remember?
Language sensitive.
Before Mission Hills, I mean, we went into that game. Not a lot of people around the county thought that we would win that game. Just we haven't beat them in 3 years, and just based off our season last year, I think there were a lot of people who thought Mission Hills would take a W in that game. And he came in and told us to just block it out, not to listen to anything, to play our game, just 11 of us together, and we took it from there.
Are you guys at the point, because, I mean, the turnaround, like you said, has been within, the crazy part, it's been within like 6 weeks or 8 weeks, or I guess the question is, if you talk to a lot of teams, not a lot of teams, a few teams want to be in open. They really want to be, and they consider the season a failure if they're not. A lot of teams are just happy at getting to the D4, D3 championship. But are you guys one of the teams that would be disappointed if you did not get into the open? I know it's a long shot, but is that a goal, or is it D1, or how's that work with you guys?
I think for us, I think open would definitely be an honor to play in, but we would be just as happy in D1 in the sense where we would like to make a run in D1 and really try and get a championship win. And we haven't seen the scale that is like Granite Hills, Helix, Lincoln. We don't play any of those teams in the regular season. I mean, we play Carlsbad, who's obviously an open division, a good team in open division. And so we know we'd have a chance, and I think we'd have fun in open division, and we'd be completely honored and play our best football if we got there. But we're definitely okay with being in D1 and playing these same teams we've been playing all year and just doing our best to get a championship ring.
Okay, let me ask Bert a question. In your mind, is it harder to win an open division title where you have to win 2 games, or a Division I title where you have to win 3 games, right? You have to win an extra game.
I think if you look at all the open teams, they're pretty evenly matched on offense and defense. And not an insult, but you guys are better on defense than you're on offense. And there's not a lot of those discrepancies. If you look at Granite, they're pretty much same. Helix,
right.
Lincoln, Carl. Yeah, they're just pretty much even on offense and defense.
So your answer is?
What was the question again?
Open division, you only have to win 2 games.
Open division's harder because you got to go
win
against
2 tough games.
Yeah, you have to. Okay. I mean, you don't get an easy bye, or it's not 1 against 9 or whatever it is. So it's definitely harder. But
Kade, you agree with that?
No, yeah, I do. I definitely do, because you got to play. There's 4 teams who are all basically, or are all supposed to be like the same caliber or very close to one another. Whereas in D1, there's, I think, like 10, 12 teams. So like the number 1 seed could be playing somebody who's just way worse than them for that first game. And not to say any game's an easy win, but it's a lot easier than, say, I don't know, Carlsbad playing Lincoln as their first game.
And at the end, you also you and Carlsbad. I mean, any open team would love to hold Carlsbad to 17 points, but you have to have the open offense to be able to score 21.
Right.
So it's one better than the other. So it's kind of hard that way.
What was I want to ask Kade about?
I got a question for you.
Go ahead.
So when you guys register at Torrey Pines, does every kid get one of those electric bikes that parks out front? That when I came to your game, I was like, "What is this?" It was like a swarm of bees of electric bikes. What is that?
There's way too many of them. I don't like them. They drive in the middle of the road, and the kids who use them have no clue what the laws of the road are for driving, and they get in everybody's way. I hate them personally. I think they're just a nuisance. But
do you have one?
Yeah.
Do you have one?
No, heck no. I do not want one.
So is it really a problem?
Oh, I came later than you, but they're all over the place. And then there's like another 100 of them parked out front. And
all
then
I see is the BMWs, dude. I mean,
no, they're electric bikes. So look like motorcycles, kind of, but they're electric.
Yeah, but the parking lot it's like a foreign car show for a public school. It's pretty nice.
So, Kade, you're in that like in between spot, 6'1", 220-ish. I imagine you're talking to some colleges. Is it more DN and put on some weight, or is it more outside linebacker and just put on a little weight?
Surprisingly, I haven't been talking to a ton of colleges. The ones I talk to, size is just the issue so far. I mean, I'd love to get to play D1 ball, but from the D2s and D3s who I've been talking to a lot, for them it's just D end. It's it's definitely D end and playing D end. I would imagine the D1s would probably make me an outside linebacker just because I'm 6'1", and I couldn't end up being I probably won't end up being 280 pounds and still being able to move with the same type of speed I'm moving with now. So it's honestly, I'd be blessed to play either position, and I played linebacker when I was younger, so I could still do that. But I mean, rushing the passer is a feeling that I would never want to give up. Pass rushing and sacking the quarterback is honestly the best thing ever. So if I got to play DN, that'd definitely be the goal.
So that's my next question, because I get this a lot with kids. I'm always wondering what they want to do. You're at 6'1", 220-ish. Sorry, I lost my
Hang on. You continue to ask your question. I'll get your IFB for you.
If you go, I mean, is it ever an option? Because I see a lot of kids, and I'm like, why don't you go to JC and... Okay, what are you doing over there?
I'm going to get you.
See what I got to deal with, Kate? I'm sorry.
All right.
My grandfather.
Okay. There you go. There you go.
So the question is, I mean, I see a lot of kids in that tweener spot, but it's, do you ever think of going to Mesa and being like, I'm going to, lift weights and get up to 6'2", 260 and try to go D1, or is it just easier and a better experience to just go the full time at D2 and enjoy the campus life? Because it's a hard decision. I don't know what I would do.
No, it definitely is, but I think if the transfer portal had become what it is today, JUCO would be the best option for sure. But with how the transfer portal is now, you can go to a D2 and go for a couple years, lift, put on weight, hopefully grow a little, and just try and dominate. And then if you show your film to D1 coaches, you could basically make the same moves.
So the transfer portal is good or bad? I'm missing what you're saying.
I think I have very mixed feelings on the transfer portal, because I feel like for the kids who are at D1 schools already, if you're at a D1 school and you commit, I think you should have to stick with that school because you made a commitment to them, and you should stay loyal to the school that recruited you. But if you're at D2s and D3s, that's where I think it's good, where if you're dominating where you are and you want to play at a higher level, you're able to move to a D1 school and compete there and see where you stand.
So in the Kade Wilken rule book, the portal would work if you're wanting to move up a level, but not move sideways from it. But then, like, what if you're at a smaller school, you're at San Diego State, and all of a sudden Ohio State has an NIL deal for you that's, what the team is making in Aztec land? Should you not be able to pursue that?
No, you definitely should. For me, I understand better opportunities come up and that a lot of people should take what's best for them. I just don't like the sense where sometimes people like to transfer because they're not getting as much playing time as they want, or they're not liking a coach or a teammate, so they choose to leave schools where they leave the school that recruited them and gave them the opportunity to play at the level they do, right, just because something offends them or they don't like it, rather than because it's a better opportunity.
Right.
I'm gonna ask
Go ahead.
a question. This is one of Paul's questions, but because something brought it up the other day. So before we did the live show Saturday, we're old people, so Brandon put on some Led Zeppelin pregame for Paul to get ready. You guys got a pregame song in the locker room you always play?
To be fair, I don't listen to the same music as my teammates. I put my headphones on and listen to my specific playlist, and they have noise cancellation, so I don't really know what we play in the locker room for the most part. But I think I hear Dreams and Nightmares a lot when I'm taking my headphones off or putting them back on. So that would probably be the most played song in the locker room.
Those noise cancellation, that's what killed team sports. Everybody should have the same song on we did. Do it.
Same as the portal. So I'm just curious, what do you listen to? Lady Gaga, or what is it that you listen to that's...
No, I just listen to different songs than my teammates. I listen to more I don't know, it's just it's very fast-paced, very loud music rather than, I don't know. It's probably the same type as music as my teammates. It's more just different songs that I like better.
What do you like the headbanging heavy metal stuff?
Death metal.
Is that what you listen
to? No, it's more of I don't know what it's called. I just go through Spotify once a week and put in hype songs, and then I pick and choose little ones I like and add them to my playlist.
Hype songs.
Britney Spears.
We need that. We need hype songs.
Need something like that.
On a serious note, young man, this season started with you dedicating your effort to your late uncle. Could you tell us that story if it's not too painful?
No, yeah. So my uncle was diagnosed with colon cancer about 2 or 3 years ago, and he fought that battle for that entire time. It was stage 4. And on July 29th of this year, right before the season started, he passed away. So I had dedicated it just to him having cancer, and I wanted him to hopefully get to see a couple games. With that dedication to him, sadly, he passed away before they started. But yeah, I dedicated it to him just to honor him and his memory through my play and through every sack and every achievement I make throughout the season, along with also bring awareness to colon cancer, because there's a lot of awareness around breast cancer. Obviously, the entire month of October is breast cancer awareness, and there's a lot of like lung cancer awareness, but I very rarely hear about colon cancer. So I just wanted to bring awareness to it because I don't want anybody else's family to suffer more than they have to. So getting screened is always important. So I just wanted to bring awareness and kind of bring honor to the memory of my uncle.
What was his name?
His name was Stephen Wilken.
So he was on your dad's side?
Yes, sir. He was my dad's brother.
You're doing good honoring him with your play.
Yeah, I think he's looking down and saying, hey, well done, young man. I think you should be very proud.
Thank you.
All right, Kate. 2 games left, Poway and LCC. Is there anything that you might look past Poway or no?
No, I think our coaches are definitely doing a good job of making sure we're not underestimating them. They're a good team. They play in Avocado. They were undefeated last year, so we're doing our best because our game's Thursday, so we have less preparation time this week. But we're doing our best to prepare for them, making sure we're not underestimating them and scouting them really well just to make sure we can get a dub this Thursday.
That LCC game would be good because I did the LCC game. They have a really good pass rush. You guys have a really good pass rush. Neither one of you guys really throw, so it doesn't really matter. But it was fun watching their D-line. It was fun watching your D-line too. But they have a really good pass rush on their D-line. I really like them. They jump off sides a lot.
You know, what are we going to do for that game of the week? Are we going to do the Holy Bowl because we do it every year, or are we going to do the Battle for the Surfboard? What would be the better game?
Probably the Battle for the Surfboard. But you might get in trouble if you don't do the Holy Bowl.
Well, I mean, it's just tradition. We've done it every.
It's not even the Battle for the Surfboard anymore. It's the Battle for the Electric Bike. Everything's changed because they have the same problem. I went to their game and I'm like, oh my God, with these bikes.
The Battle of the E-Scooter?
Yeah, the Battle of the E-Bike.
Oh, that cracks me up.
Hate those things.
It is true. I mean, if you go to one of your games, I mean, it's just and LCC was the same thing the week before. I'm like, this is obnoxious.
Well, there's another.
I see them at school every day.
Yeah, but I mean, they're not cheap, right? They go for a couple.
No. Yeah, they're like a couple $1,000s. Me and my family are not spending a couple $1,000s on a bike. I'm sorry.
Dude, you guys charge $3 for a Coke at your game.
Yeah, well, but
that's terrible.
But that money is not going to the kids. That's going to
LCC too. I think they charge $4.
Hey, the Legend of Ed Burke. He's a close friend of ours, and he's way back when Torrey Pines was back when you were Giants. In the San Diego football community, Torrey Pines was one of those schools that, right? I mean,
I'd say they're kind of good Giants.
They walked the earth as Giants, and Ed Burke was certainly the lead Giant. Does his legend, you see Ed Burke Field, is that just like a name you see up on the wall, or are you all aware of the legend that was once one of the greatest high school football coaches in our land?
We're definitely aware of it. The coaches bring him by at least once every offseason. So just to speak to us, and they continuously remind us about him and his legacy and just how good of a coach he was, and like trying to live up to it and us trying to live up to the teams he had, just to keep that reputation alive about Torrey Pines. But yeah, we hear about it every year.
Do you guys ever get a John Lynch visit in the off season?
I have never gotten a John Lynch visit. I've been here for 4 years, so
I think he needs to make one of those.
Coach Burke said he was the greatest Falcon ever of all the Falcons to come through the program. I guess that would make sense for an NFL Hall of Famer to be the greatest ever.
Yeah.
I think Kade Wilken is personally.
Oh, and just quickly, can we talk about the well, yeah, why not?
I'm a D lineman.
Well, if he makes it to the NFL Hall of Fame and I'm still doing the show, Kade will give you your props.
I'm partial to defensive lineman. What can I say?
Well, why don't you guys talk defensive lineman? What?
Not with you here. I don't want to make you feel uncomfortable.
Well, bestow upon him. What's your best piece of advice for a young? When you look at him, what would you tell him?
I don't even know anymore. It's changed. The game's changed so much. It's not even. I don't think I could. Well, I probably could, but it's hard. It's not even the same position. It's not even the same anything. I mean, the things I was telling him, we're old enough that kids still smoke cigarettes in halftime in the games. I mean, the game has just changed. Seriously, the game has just changed. My first NFL game as a rookie. This is with the Chargers. It's not that long ago. It was '89. Well, that is that long ago. They were still smoking at halftime during the games.
That's crazy.
In the bathroom, or not even the bathroom, locker room. So, I mean, the game's changed so much. Just technically, high school coaches are probably better technically now and concept-wise than they were NFL coaches, and it's just a different game.
If you had to go play and sub in for Kade for one series,
I'd dominate. I mean, you
could you
dust off that silver pigskin.
What are you now? How old are you?
56.
You're at age 56. Do you think you get a sack at the high school level still?
Without tearing my hamstring?
Just for $1 million, would you do it?
Oh, I'd get one every down. Come on.
Could you? Do you think?
Smoking a cigarette during it.
I mean, you're still big.
I don't.
We used to be able to do it for the strike
I
force.
can barely take the trash out. What are you talking? That
All
was
right,
4 years ago.
All right, so Kade, then I'll ask you then. Teach me, in your view, when you're out over the ball, and it's say third and long or second and long, and there's a good chance you're going to be throwing the ball. What are you thinking, depending on the defensive call? Teach me some fundamentals. Teach me to rush the passer.
I mean, for me, a lot of it is studying film. So more of the not even skinnier, but some of the lengthier tackles out there who have a very good like fast pass set, but aren't quite as big. I tend, like, if it's third and long, I'll be like, okay, so I'll start the game by just trying to long arm bull rush them. And then I'll work off of that with, like, once they, like, I've done that a couple times and they've started to, like, plant their feet early or turn their hips to try and stop that, I can start throwing a ghost or some sort of speed rush or a hand swipe. But when I'm going against those bigger tackles, like I think it was 75 on Carlsbad, giant dude, 300 pounds, 6'7", that's a guy where you're like, okay, he's still got good feet, but as a guy who's much smaller, much quicker, I'm just gonna go speed as much as possible, and until he catches on and oversets, and then I'm gonna make a counter inside. And then the guy on the left, who wasn't quite as big but still great feet, you're gonna bull pull so that he leans in, and then you can come around that corner. So for a lot of it, it's a lot of film study. You see what has worked for other guys and what their tendencies are, what their feet look like, and then you go into the game knowing what you're gonna do. And then when that 3rd and 10 comes along, or that call that you get to go on a free pass rush up the field, you just do what you've been practicing all week for those specific people.
And that's to my point. See, we didn't even go through those progressions in the 80s in the NFL. I mean, what he just said, they do it now, but we didn't even do that.
Like, you taught me the hand swipe when we were at Torrey Pines.
Yeah, but those are just moves, not progressions. He's talking about progressions and chess. I'm going to lose this thing to see what he does here. We didn't do that back then, and definitely didn't do it in high school. I think we might take 2 steps back and then rush the passer or sideways. But that people don't realize the game in high school now is literally probably as advanced as it was late 80s, early 90s in the NFL.
Wow, then what must the NFL be like?
Well, that's why they don't hit anymore. We used to hit so they were entertained. Now they have to entertain you with actual talent and brains and everything else. Where before it was just the violence to entertain you. Now you have to actually entertain you.
All right.
We couldn't play now. That's just all there is to it. I could probably, but I'd be back up. I'd probably be on JV like you were back in the 70s now. But you wouldn't be able to play.
He thinks he's hurting me, Kade. I have rhinoceros skin. There's nothing either one of you could say to me that... you work at TV for 40 years. You're
over time. You better get Kade back to his class.
Kade, help me out. Best players you've seen so far this season?
Obviously, Julian Sain, 5-star committed to Alabama. Can't leave him out. Had some fun, like chatting with him during the game. Little fun remarks at each other. Definitely one of the best. Del Norte's quarterback was a good player. Mason Walsh, Carlsbad running back, very good. He laid me out one play, so props to him for that. Didn't get low enough. Mission Hills offensive line, their tackles, San Clemente's tackles as well, and then Carlsbad tackles are the best tackles I've seen all season. And then, and then Mission Hills as a team as a whole was a pretty good team, and Carlsbad was a great team. But definitely the best players I've seen. Mason Walsh is the best running back. Sain's the best quarterback by a long shot. Even playing on that hurt ankle, he still managed to get the ball out, keep himself off the ground, away from sacks. And wide receivers, I just don't know, so I can't tell you who the best wide receivers because I don't play against them. But the tackles on Carlsbad and Mission Hills are definitely the best I've played this year. and then the quarterback would be sane and running back Mason Walsh, because that kid's a beast. He'll run anybody over.
In your life, when 30 years from now, when you're done playing football, there's going to be a moment when you're taking a shower, mowing the lawn, or playing with your kids. There's going to be that one football moment that sticks with you forever, that just you'll find yourself going back to it. We all have it, no matter how, if you've played 8 games like me or 80 games like him. At this young stage of your life, what is the one football moment that you go back to and still either brings a smile to your face or a tear to your eye? What is the moment?
Yeah, well, the good one. Well, I'll start with the bad one. The bad one is my sophomore year. I had a screen pass against El Camino in my hands when I was pass rushing. It hit both my hands and I dropped it. And my teammates still give me a hard time about that one to this day, and I will never forget that one because it probably would have been a pick six. And then the best moment to this day would probably, I don't know. At this point, I have good ones, but what I'm looking for is a D1 championship the moment we win that game this year. Or if we win that game this year, that would be my moment. And if we beat LCC this year, that would be my moment because of the rivalry. But right now, just the best feeling is sacking a quarterback on 4th down when they're going for it, kind of to seal the game, because that's happened a couple times. And those are the best moments. But the worst one is definitely dropping a pick against El Camino. That was in my hands.
Well, good luck on the battle for the e-bike in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Kade, we've kept you longer than we intended to. You're a delight to speak with. It's always good when a player that you recognize on the field turns out to be even a solid guy off the field, of which you obviously are. And we hope the ear surgery, the swelling goes down, that one day we can see your ears, hopefully at the gala, okay?
Sounds good.
If you get the stitches out by then, we will. Kade, a young lady by the name of Maddie is going to be reaching out to you for some pictures and some other stuff that we hope that we can use. I'll post the whole interview later today on the Prep Picks YouTube page, and then starting later today and into tomorrow, we'll be putting clips up from this conversation. You've been an absolute delight, and I wish you nothing but continued success, young man.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Kade.